Hi, it's Greg, and today let's see 5 hacks on how to optimize and better manage your properties on HubSpot. The first hack concerns the copy workflow. So I already talk about it several times in my channel, but the idea is to copy the value of a specific property into another one. So at first sight, you might think it's not really useful, but it is for two reasons. HubSpot is really limiting us in terms of how we can deal and collect our data. So for instance, some forms like pop-up forms or HubSpot meeting tool forms don't allow you to collect company properties, and they only allow you to collect contact properties. But sometimes, especially before a call, you would like to have some information about the company of a lead. So you will need to collect those information. One way to do so is just to collect it as a contact property and create a workflow, a copy workflow to convert this contact property into a company property. So how to do so? It's easy. You just need to choose the property you want to copy. So in our case, let's say that it's a company property and we want to know what service the company is looking for. So in this example, I just create like a short drop-down menu property, and we have 3 services: marketing, sales, and support. So in order to be able to put it in a HubSpot meeting tool form, you need to create a contact property that gets the exact same values. So if we go to contact, you can see that I did it already. So you just create the same property in contact with the exact same values and internal values. Once it's done, you just need to put this contact property in the form and create a copy workflow to convert this value, to copy this value into the company one. So how to do that? Just need to go to the workflow tab, create a new workflow from scratch. If you want to copy a contact property into a company property, choose contact based. If you want to copy a company property into a contact property, you choose company based. So in our case, we want to copy a contact into a company, so we choose the first one. And we start with blank workflow. Now we are in the workflow editor. So the only thing we need to know is to set up triggers. So in this case, the trigger is really easy. Is the contact property we want to copy. So in this case, service is known. We apply, we save. And if you want the data to be updated every time there's a change in this property, you go to re-enrollment and you activate it. And then the only task we need to do is click on plus here, go down and copy property value. So we choose the property to copy. So in our case is service. The target object will be company. We can choose if we want it to be for all companies or only primary companies. And for the property, we will choose this time the service, but the company one. So you save, you can check that is a copy contact property service to company property service. So that's good. When you turn it on, you will see that every lead that will fill this specific contact field in your form will have its associated company updated with this value. The second hack of this video is to create delay properties. So HubSpot will allow you to create specific calculation properties based on the difference of days between 2 dates. So it's really useful to do that if you want basically to track the efficiency of a speed to lead strategy, or to know since how long a lead haven't received any communication or this kind of thing. So to do it is really easy. You go to create property, you select a group, so let's say contact information for instance. We'll name it delay between create date and last engagement. And here in field type, you will select calculation. So calculation property allow you to do a lot of different calculations. So for instance, if you want to calculate the BMI of a lead, if you're working in the health industry, you can, the difference of age and stuff like that. You can just use these numbers or properties to do so. What will interest us today is the time between option. So you can click on it and you just need to choose the 2 property you want to calculate the days between. So if we do so and we create, this property will show the exact days between the create date and the last engagement date of the lead. The third hack is a bit technical. So the idea is to be able to have a 2 days date as a filter for all our leads. So basically, if we mix it with the hack number 2, we will be able to create like a property saying the time between the last engagement or the last email received and today. And we can see, for instance, like, oh, if the lead haven't been called in the last 20 days, we need to send a task to a sales rep or to send a mail to this lead, etc., etc. So you can be really creative on how you will use this property. But the idea is to fill this data for every lead of your database. To make it happen is a bit technical, but let's see together how we do. First, you will need to create a 2 days date property as a date picker type. It will be the final result. Basically, every leads will have this property filled with 2 days date. The second property we need to create is 2 days date internal loop. You can name it however you want. We will not use it to display any information. We just need to create it to create an internal loop between workflows, because HubSpot will not allow us to create workflow cycles that turn and turn and turn forever unless we do some tricks. So once we have these two properties, we need to create two workflows. The first one, you can name it setup 2 days date, is the main workflow, is the one that will update the date every day. So the trigger of the workflow is 2 days date internal loop is known. So basically it's our second property. Then we will clear this property data and we will timestamp the 2 days date, which is the main property, with 2 days date. Once it's done, we will enroll the lead to our second workflow. What this second workflow does, first, it doesn't have any enrollment trigger because that's the first workflow that will drive the leads to this one. It will wait 24 hours, so 1 day, and then it will set a value for this second property. Remember, it's not information we want to display, just something to trigger the workflow. So once it's done, we have 2 days date internal loop that is known, and that's the enrollment trigger for this workflow. So it will go back, it will clear this value, it will put the new date of today, so 1 day later, and it will do that again and again and again. So in this example, you can see that my contacts are waiting for it. And so basically at the end of the day, they will go back to the first one and come back to this one. To make it work, it's important you always allow the re-enrollment in the two workflows. If not, they will never loop, they will just do the path 1 day. And the last thing you need to think about is like to enroll your leads in the first place. You just create a list with like create date is known, like to englobe all your database, and you enroll manually this list of all your leads to this setup 2 days date workflow. So they will enter in the loop and they will never go out. The fourth hack of this video is to create new HubSpot score properties. So basically, HubSpot score property is a native property created by HubSpot to calculate the lead scoring of your database. So basically, it will measure like the different demographic criteria, so properties, or the different engagement of a lead in your website, and will attribute a certain amount of points, positively or negatively, to determine if a lead is ready to buy or if he needs more nurturing. So that's a great tool, and HubSpot allows us to create like other version of this score property to allow us a lot of different things. So for instance, we can create different HubSpot score properties, so different lead scoring model, to see which one is the most efficient for our strategy or our database. The other example would be that we will be able to score other kind of contacts that are not like leads ready to buy, but maybe we can score our customer success or our customer retention or everything you need to track and analyze. So to do so, you just need to click on create property. You choose like contact information, however, and you can like name it customer success score. Next, and you will choose here score. And then you will build a score, and like your lead scoring property, you will be able to add criteria to have positive points and criteria to have negative points, and then you can like track the score of customer success for all your leads or do anything you want with this new tool. And our last hack for today is a bit lighter than the other one. It's the idea that you don't need to fill properties with only numbers, date, or text, but you can also use emojis. So why it's important is not important at all, but sometimes it can like make your research on your database a bit more visual, or to create like funnier or easy to read dashboards and reports. So for instance, I create a property named healthy process, and instead of saying like non-healthy, I put this little emoji of a sick guy. I create a workflow presenting all like the best way in my portal to collect information. And if a lead doesn't follow one of those steps, it will be redirected to another branch that will set up this healthy process property with a sick guy. So I can know that in my lead database, I can know all the leads that didn't follow like the perfect path. So I know there's like way of improvement to make my database cleaner. So basically you can use these emojis to track any kind of information and use it as you please. So it was my 5 hacks on how to better manage and optimize your properties in HubSpot. If you liked this video, please put a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to go deeper on your understanding of HubSpot and its automations, I create a private web page in Notion named the Workflow Box. So you will find a link in the description to fill a short form to be able to access it. What is it? It's just the library of all the different workflows I present on this channel and on my website, with a technical profile for each workflows, a tutorial video, detailed blog posts that give more context about this workflow, the prerequisites you need to use it, and a step-by-step to-do list action plan that will allow you to apply this workflow to your portal. So if you're interested in that content, just fill the form in the description and I will see you there. So I hope you have a nice day and see you soon.